everyone. Today I'm going to share a story about one of the most powerful and widely discussed leaders on the planet, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. His journey feels like a film filled with struggle, intensity, and achievement. This is not just a story about a leader. It's a story of how a young boy with big dreams rose to become one of the most influential figures in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen closely, because this story will not only help improve your English, but also motivate you to believe in yourself. Let's begin with his early life, where everything started. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in a city known as Leningrad, now called St. Petersburg in Russia. He was the youngest of 3 children, but unfortunately, his 2 older brothers passed away before he was born. This made him the only child of his parents, Maria Ivanovna Putina and Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin. His family lived in a very small apartment. It was nothing like the modern apartments we see today with separate rooms and kitchens. Instead, it was located in an old-style building known as a communal flat. Imagine having to share one kitchen and 1 bathroom with several families. That's the kind of environment young Vladimir grew up in. During those times, there was no sense of privacy. If you needed to use the bathroom, you often had to stand in line. The kitchen was usually packed with people preparing food at different times, and sometimes the smell of meals from other families would spread across the apartment. But Vladimir's family never complained. They were used to this lifestyle because many families in Russia lived this way after World War II. Leningrad, where Putin was born, had gone through severe damage during the war. The city was nearly destroyed, and people were still trying to recover from the painful effects of war. Food was scarce, and life was extremely difficult. Putin's father had been wounded during the war, and his mother worked tirelessly to support the family. Vladimir's parents loved him deeply, but they were also very strict. They taught him discipline, hard work, and the importance of never giving up, no matter how challenging life became. They had no idea that their thin and small boy would one day grow up to lead their nation. Putin was not a strong or large child. In fact, he was quite small and skinny compared to other children. Because of this, some kids in his neighborhood tried to bully him. But Vladimir was not someone who would cry or run away. Instead, he made a decision to become stronger so that no one could ever push him around again. At the age of 12, he began learning judo, along with a Russian form of martial arts. He trained every single day. He wasn't just fighting to win. He was building his confidence and self-control. Over time, he became highly skilled in judo and eventually earned a black belt. Even today, he has a strong passion for judo and believes it helped him stay calm and think clearly during difficult situations. While most children dreamed of becoming doctors, engineers, or teachers, Vladimir had a very different dream. He wanted to become a spy, yes, a spy, just like in movies. He was deeply interested in stories about the KGB, the intelligence agency of the Soviet Union. The KGB was one of the most powerful organizations in the world at that time, and young Putin dreamed of becoming a part of it. However, becoming a KGB officer was not easy. It required intelligence, discipline, and a strong educational background. Putin understood this, so he focused on his studies. Even though he was not the top student in the beginning, he worked hard to improve himself. He also learned the German language, which later became very useful in his career. Living in a communal flat was not simple. Every morning, Vladimir's mother would wake up early to prepare breakfast in the shared kitchen. She would wait for her turn to use the stove while other families cooked their food. Sometimes, arguments would happen about whose turn it was. Putin would usually have a simple breakfast, like bread with butter and tea, before heading off to school. After school, he would often assist his mother with small household tasks. His family didn't have much money, so they couldn't afford luxuries. But Vladimir never worried about expensive toys or stylish clothes. His mind was fixed on one goal: becoming a KGB officer. After completing school, Putin was accepted into Leningrad State University, one of the top universities in the city. He chose to study law, which was a smart decision because the KGB often recruited people with a legal background. During his time at the university, Putin remained quiet and focused. He wasn't loud or socially popular, but his professors recognized his sharp thinking and strong discipline. When he graduated in 1975, his dream finally became reality. He joined the KGB for a boy who came from a poor background. This was a massive achievement. Imagine wearing the uniform of one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world. Putin began his journey as a secret agent, working behind the scenes to serve and protect his country. His first major assignment took him to East Germany during the Cold War. It was a tense period when the world was divided between the Soviet Union and the United States. Putin worked quietly, gathering information and observing how the world functioned beyond Russia. While in East Germany, he improved his German language skills and learned how to manage complex and sensitive situations. Being a spy wasn't easy, but Putin enjoyed the challenge. He was gaining experiences that would later help him lead a nation. This was only the beginning of Vladimir Putin's remarkable journey from a small, crowded apartment in Leningrad to the respected ranks of the KGB. His life already proves how determination and hard work can completely transform a person's future. Putin was performing well as a KGB officer in East Germany, but in 1989, a major event changed everything for him and the world. The Berlin Wall collapsed, and soon after, the Soviet Union began to weaken. People were dissatisfied with the government, and life in Russia became difficult for many. Putin realized that the world was changing rapidly. In 1990, he returned to his hometown, Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg. A year later, in 1991, he left the KGB because he wanted to begin a new phase in his life. It was time for him to explore something different, something bigger. After leaving the KGB, Putin didn't instantly rise to power. He started with a modest position at Leningrad State University, the same place where he had studied. He worked as an assistant to one of his former professors, handling administrative duties. But soon, a new opportunity came his way. A man named Anatoly Sobchak, who was the mayor of St. Petersburg, needed someone intelligent and reliable to assist him. Putin got the position, and this marked his entry into politics. At that time, Putin wasn't an experienced politician, but he learned quickly. He worked hard behind the scenes, organizing projects, managing important responsibilities, and ensuring that everything in the city functioned properly. People began to notice him because of his quiet yet effective approach. Putin wasn't flashy or overly talkative like many politicians. He spoke less, but when he did, people paid attention. He became known for solving problems efficiently and staying calm under pressure. One of his strongest qualities was loyalty. He remained loyal to his boss, Anatoly Sobchak, even during challenging times. This loyalty earned him trust, as people saw that he wasn't someone who would betray others for personal gain. In 1996, Sobchak lost his position as mayor, and Putin's role in St. Petersburg came to an end. Many believed this would be the end of his career, but Putin didn't give up. He moved to Moscow, the capital of Russia, to start fresh. In Moscow, Putin began working within the Russian government. At first, he held small roles, but he always gave his best. His ability to remain calm, solve issues, and maintain control impressed senior officials. Soon, Boris Yeltsin, the president of Russia at the time, noticed him. Yeltsin was searching for someone dependable to help manage the country, and Putin seemed like the right choice. In 1999, a major turning point came when Boris Yeltsin appointed Vladimir Putin as the Prime Minister of Russia. This was a huge moment, because the Prime Minister is one of the most powerful figures in the country. However, Russia was facing serious challenges. The economy was weak. Corruption was widespread, and people were losing hope. Putin had a lot of responsibility, but he didn't step back. He showed the nation that he was committed to making changes. He introduced strict measures to fight corruption and worked to bring structure and discipline into the government. Gradually, people began to trust him. Then, on December 31st, 1999, something unexpected happened. Boris Yeltsin announced that he was stepping down as president, and he chose Vladimir Putin as his successor. This decision surprised many people, as not everyone knew much about Putin at the time. But Yeltsin believed in him. On January 1st, 2000, the very first day of the new millennium, Vladimir Putin became the acting president of Russia. He wasted no time and immediately began addressing the country's problems. He focused on strengthening the economy, reducing crime, and restoring stability. One of his earliest major challenges was dealing with Chechnya, a region seeking independence from Russia. There were intense conflicts, but Putin took a firm stance. He wanted to show the world that Russia was strong and would not give up its territory. His actions made him popular among many Russians who were tired of seeing their country appear weak. They viewed Putin as a leader who could restore order and bring strength back to Russia. In March 2000, Russia held a presidential election, and Putin won by a large margin of votes. He officially stepped into the role of president of Russia, marking the beginning of a new chapter for the nation. Putin was young, driven, and fully committed to restoring Russia's position as a global power. He introduced fresh policies aimed at strengthening the economy, improving health care, and upgrading the military. As his influence grew, so did his wealth. Today, he is often associated with a lavish lifestyle. Reports suggest he owns high-end jets, luxury yachts, and expensive cars. He is also said to have a personal collection of watches worth millions of dollars. However, Putin rarely speaks about his wealth and prefers to keep his private life out of the spotlight. Some critics question this secrecy, while others respect his focus on work rather than display. Putin married Lyudmila Shkrebneva in 1983. Together, they had the daughters, Maria and Katerina. Despite his public role, he kept his family life extremely private. He didn't want his children exposed to public attention, as he aimed to protect them. In 2013, Putin and Lyudmila announced their divorce, stating it was a mutual decision and that they had grown apart over time. Since then, his personal relationships have been widely speculated about, but he has never publicly confirmed anything. As a leader, Putin has faced many controversies. Some accuse him of being too strict or controlling, while others criticize his government for limiting freedom of speech. Despite all this, Putin has remained focused on his objectives. He believes that strong leadership requires making difficult decisions, even if they are unpopular. His primary goal has always been to make Russia a powerful and respected nation, and he has worked tirelessly toward that vision. Even after more than 2 decades in power, his journey shows how discipline, persistence, and determination can shape success. In the early 2000s, Putin concentrated on repairing Russia's broken systems. The economy was struggling. People were finding it hard to secure jobs, and many families couldn't afford basic needs. Factories had shut down, infrastructure was in poor condition, and corruption was widespread. Putin began by enforcing strict policies to restore order. He focused on collecting unpaid taxes, reforming businesses, and encouraging foreign investment. Gradually, Russia's economy started improving. Oil and gas became the country's strongest industries under his leadership, bringing in significant revenue that helped rebuild the nation. Putin understood that a powerful country needed a strong military. After years of neglect, Russia's armed forces were in poor condition. Soldiers lacked proper training, and equipment was outdated. Putin began investing heavily in modernization. He introduced advanced weapons, improved training systems, and adopted new technologies. Over time, Russia developed into one of the strongest military powers in the world, signaling its return to global influence. He also recognized the importance of information. Putin believed that controlling media played a key role in shaping public opinion. During his presidency, he took steps to ensure that major television networks were aligned with the government. This decision was controversial, but he argued it was necessary to maintain stability. According to him, too much unchecked freedom in the media could create disorder. Whether people agreed or not, this approach helped him strengthen control over the country. When Putin came to power, Russia was heavily influenced by extremely wealthy businessmen known as oligarchs. These individuals had gained massive wealth after the collapse of the Soviet Union and used their influence to affect political decisions. Putin opposed this imbalance. He believed that no individual should be more powerful than the state. He took action against these oligarchs, forcing many to leave the country or give up control of their businesses. It was a risky move, given their influence, but it reinforced his message that no one stood above the law in Russia. As president, Putin worked to rebuild Russia's relationships with other nations. He traveled globally, meeting leaders from the United States, China, Europe, and the Middle East. His style was distinct, direct, confident, and always composed. His experience as a KGB officer gave him an advantage in understanding people and situations. He knew when to be diplomatic and when to take a firm stance, making him both respected and, at times, feared on the global stage. By the mid-2000s, Putin had become one of the most powerful figures in the world. With power came luxury. He is believed to own multiple residences, private aircraft, and even a super yacht. One of his most talked about properties is a massive estate on the Black Sea, often referred to as Putin's palace. He also has a known interest in luxury, cars and high-end watches, with his collection valued in the millions. Still, he keeps his personal life largely hidden, rarely speaking about his family or relationships. Putin is widely recognized for his strong and fearless image. Over the years, he has been seen engaging in activities like horseback riding shirtless in Siberia, diving underwater to explore shipwrecks, piloting fighter jets and helicopters, and practicing judo, a martial art he has mastered since childhood. These moments are carefully presented to portray him as a strong, active leader ready to defend his country at all costs. One of Putin's key strengths is his ability to balance alliances and opposition. He has built strong partnerships with countries like China and India, while also standing firm against powerful nations such as the United States. In 2014, he made one of his most controversial decisions by annexing Crimea, a region that was part of Ukraine. This move shocked the international community and resulted in heavy sanctions against Russia. However, within Russia, many supported his decision, viewing it as a bold move to protect national interests. Leading a country for so many years has not been easy. Putin has faced criticism for restricting free speech and taking strict action against protests. Many label him as authoritarian, but he believes his leadership style is essential to maintain stability and strength. He often emphasizes that a strong leader must make tough choices, even if they are unpopular. Despite his strict and disciplined personality, those close to Putin say he also has a softer side. He has a deep love for animals, especially dogs, and has received several as gifts from world leaders. He often spends time with them at his residence. He also enjoys classical music and can play the piano. These details reveal that even one of the world's most powerful leaders finds joy in simple things. Putin's journey from a small apartment in Leningrad to becoming the president of Russia is truly inspiring. He has faced countless obstacles but has consistently found ways to overcome them. His determination, intelligence, and adaptability have made him one of the most influential leaders of the 21st century. As his journey continued, Putin strengthened his position as a global leader. With Russia growing more powerful, he began focusing on bigger ambitions. His goal was not only to strengthen his country, but also to ensure that the world recognized Russia as a force to be respected. However, this phase of his journey was not just about success. It was also filled with challenges, controversies, and bold decisions that kept the world watching closely. Putin is frequently described as one of the most strategic leaders in modern history. He rarely makes decisions without considering their long-term consequences. One of his key strategies has been building strong alliances with countries that share similar goals. For example, Putin has worked closely with China to deepen economic cooperation. Together, they have launched major projects such as new trade routes and energy pipelines. This partnership has helped Russia reduce its dependence on Western nations. Another important strategy is Russia's expanding influence in the Middle East. Putin has supported leaders in countries like Syria, helping them stay in power during difficult times. This has positioned Russia as a major force in the region, allowing Putin to negotiate with Western countries on more equal terms. In today's world, conflicts are not fought only with weapons like tanks and guns. Technology plays a huge role, and Putin understands this very well. Under his leadership, Russia has made significant investments in cyber capabilities. Russian hackers are considered among the most advanced in the world. This has given Russia a different kind of power, allowing it to influence global events without deploying soldiers. For instance, there have been allegations that Russian hackers interfered in elections in other countries. While these claims remain controversial, they highlight the level of influence Russia has gained through technology. One of Putin's major accomplishments has been restoring a sense of national pride among Russian citizens. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, many Russians felt embarrassed and believed their country had lost its strength and respect. Putin worked hard to change that mindset. He launched large-scale initiatives celebrating Russian history, culture, and achievements. He revived military parades, built new museums, and introduced laws to protect the Russian language. He often says that a nation that forgets its past has no future. This belief has shaped many of his policies and inspired millions to feel proud of their country again. When it comes to fitness and daily routine, Putin is extremely disciplined. He begins his day with a healthy breakfast, usually consisting of quail eggs, cottage cheese, and fresh juice. After that, he spends about an hour swimming and then works out in the gym. This strict routine helps him stay physically strong and mentally focused. During official visits, Putin has also been seen using relatively modest cars, reinforcing his image as a leader who understands the everyday struggles of ordinary people. One of Putin's bold initiatives was the creation of the Eurasian Economic Union, also known as the EAU. This organization brings together countries like Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Armenia to form a strong economic alliance. The EAU allows member nations to trade freely, strengthening their economies and reducing reliance on Western systems. Putin's vision is to build a structure where Russia leads and offers alternatives to Western institutions. This move has expanded Russia's influence across Central Asia and beyond, further strengthening Putin's reputation as a forward-thinking leader. While Putin has modernized many parts of Russia, he has also focused on preserving traditional values. He believes Russian culture and identity are unique and should not be shaped by Western ideas. For example, he has taken firm positions on topics like religion, family, and education. He strongly supports the Russian Orthodox Church, calling it a vital part of the nation's heritage. This has earned him support from conservative groups, although it has also sparked debates about the balance between religion and government. Putin's ability to remain in power for so long reflects his adaptability. He has faced economic crises, political controversies, and even periods of international isolation. Yet, no matter the situation, he finds ways to recover and move forward. One of his key strengths is connecting with everyday citizens. He hosts an annual event called Direct Line with Putin, where people can ask him questions directly. This creates the image of a leader who listens and engages with the public. As Putin's leadership continues, his legacy becomes more complex. Some people see him as a hero who saved Russia from collapse and restored its global status. Others view him as a controversial figure who has made bold and sometimes risky decisions, regardless of differing opinions. One thing is certain: Vladimir Putin's life is a story of resilience, determination, and vision. His rise from a modest childhood to leading one of the world's most powerful nations is truly remarkable. As we move toward the final chapter of his story, it's important to focus on the legacy he is creating, a legacy that will likely be remembered for generations. Whether people admire him or criticize him, Putin's journey proves that resilience, intelligence, and strategic thinking can shape the course of history. Putin's success as a leader comes from his ability to adapt. He does not follow a single path forever. Instead, he studies situations, learns from them, and adjusts his approach. This skill has allowed him to stay in power for more than 2 decades. When asked about his leadership style, he once said that leadership is not about simply holding power, but about staying relevant. This mindset has guided his decisions and policies. He understands that for Russia to remain strong, it must evolve while still holding on to its unique identity. Putin's vision goes beyond Russia. He aims to create a multipolar world, one where no single nation dominates. He believes smaller countries should have a voice and challenges global powers that try to control everything. To achieve this, he has strengthened alliances. Russia's relationships with countries like China, India, and several African nations have grown stronger. He has also supported countries facing Western sanctions by offering trade opportunities and military support. Politics is often compared to a game of chess, and Putin is often seen as a master strategist. He doesn't act without thinking. He carefully plans each move. Whether negotiating peace or responding to criticism, he remains calm and focused. One memorable moment came during an international summit when powerful leaders tried to corner him with accusations. Instead of reacting emotionally, Putin stayed composed, responded with facts, and turned the situation in his favor. His ability to remain calm under pressure is a quality many leaders can learn from. As he once said, emotions can be a weakness in politics. Putin understands that his time in power will not last forever. That is why he has worked to build a strong foundation for Russia's future. He has encouraged young people to pursue careers in science, technology, and engineering, believing that innovation will shape the future. In education, his government has made reforms to improve access, especially in rural areas. He often visits schools and universities to motivate students. In healthcare, new hospitals have been built, and access to medical services has improved, particularly in remote regions. His message is clear: Russia's strength lies in its people, and investing in them ensures long-term success. Being a leader comes with challenges, and Putin's life reflects that reality. He has faced constant criticism both inside and outside his country. There are ongoing debates about his decisions, policies, and leadership style. However, he does not let criticism shake him. He once said that trying to please everyone will only make you lose yourself. According to him, a true leader must stand by their principles, even when others disagree. This belief has guided him through difficult moments, including sanctions, conflicts, and political opposition. His journey shows that persistence is essential for success. What makes Putin particularly interesting is not just his political career, but also the person behind the leader. He has a passion for adventure, enjoying activities like horse riding, diving, and even flying aircraft. These experiences reflect his fearless nature and love for challenges. He is also intellectually curious, spending time reading about history, politics, and military strategy. He believes knowledge is the most powerful tool anyone can have. As we reach the conclusion of this story, it's important to reflect on the lessons from his life. First, resilience is key. Life will always present challenges, but those who stay strong and adapt can overcome them. Second, think strategically, don't rush decisions. Take time to analyze and plan. Third, stay true to yourself. Leadership is not about pleasing everyone, but about standing firm in your beliefs. Fourth, focus on growth, whether personal or professional. Always aim to improve yourself and those around you. Vladimir Putin's journey from a small apartment in Leningrad to the global stage is a powerful story of determination, courage, and vision. His life reminds us that success is not defined by where you begin, but by how far you are willing to go. As we close this incredible story, remember this: your future is in your hands. If you dream big, work hard, and stay focused, there is no limit to what you can achieve.